Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to do an update on our Urban Worm Bag version 2.0. So this bag has been going for quite a while now. We harvested it last time. It's been well over a month since our last update, I think, probably around 40 days or so, and it really needs a feeding. I've kind of put it off due to the fruit fly issue, and I don't remember any fruit flies being in this bag, so I kind of wanted to get them under control before I opened it up and added more food and possibly added fruit flies to the mix, which has happened to some of my other systems. So let's go and take a look and see how it's doing and see what it needs. It probably needs food, bedding material, and moisture. So let's go. Alright, so here's the Urban Worm Bag version 2.0. And remember, I have links down below to purchase these if you're looking to get one. They work really well in my opinion. And with the frame, it's a helpful addition that makes sure we don't have to do the work to do that. Now, this is very dry, as you can tell here on the top. This probably needs a moisture infusion here. But first, before we do anything, we're going to dig through and just take a look and see how it's doing. So, the pizza box lid here has collapsed in. I can get my glove on here. There we go. Pizza box lid has collapsed in. Has some good amount of moisture on here. We're just going to put that off to the side here. And we're going to dig through here and see how it looks. So I am seeing some worms already. These are my European night crawlers. This one doesn't look very healthy, but I'm sure there are others in here that are probably just fine. Here's one right here. This one does look a little bit more healthy than the other one. As I said, these are desperate need of food probably. I have not fed them in a while due to the fact that I had this fruit fly issue in my basement. So we're just going to dig in here a little bit. I think I had that cloth over here. That's where I fed last time. Seeing lots of bedding material, but not a lot of... Oh, here we go. Actually, we still have some corn cobs here that they did not work through. I know that these take a while to break down. They don't even feel soft at all yet. They did take all the kernels off of them, though, as you could see. So anything that was on there that they could do, they took off, and there's quite a few of these here. Now, let's just see here. Now we're getting some good, healthy worms here. So you can see that they're on there. They're nice and healthy. A little small, but that's probably because there's probably some young ones in here. Not seeing any cocoons. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Let's just kind of dig in on this side a little bit more. Oh, more corn on the cob here. Actually, this one has a little worm on it too, if it'll focus. I don't know if it focused or not, but right there's a little bit of a worm. So again, nice, and there's some food left over, but we are going to have to add some more readily consumable food. Another piece of corn in here. This one has another big worm on it. So we do have some food left over. I'm kind of surprised. I thought they would have gone through those even by now after a full month. But you can see that they're just sort of spread out here a little bit more than normal. They do need that infusion of food and more moisture. This is quite dry, although the material is nice and crumbly, which is exactly what you want for your garden. I'm going to try to keep some of these fruit flies out of here. I really don't want to have a population form in here, which is why I waited. So, all right, let's dig that back underneath for now. Let's go to this side. Take a look over here. Oh, actually, there's a pile of worms right here. Let's just dig in over here. Really nice looking material. More worms over here than on the other side even. Good size differential here. So we've got some big worms, some little worms, very active, digging very well. So these look like nice, healthy worms in here now on this side. So we definitely need more moisture in here, though. From looking, I can tell that the moisture content is just way lower than it should be. And we will take care of that. We're going to add a lot of moisture and a lot of food. We're going to have a big feeding this time. Looking to see if I find any cocoons here. You might see them better on the video than I see them in person. Sometimes I sort of miss them as they're slipping through my fingers. But no, I'm not seeing any cocoons. As I said, that's okay. It's hard to find them sometimes in a large bin like this. But a good mixture of worms in here. So far the bin looks pretty good. There's a big buildup right over here. Let's just take a look at this real quick. A lot of worms over here too. Whoops. A lot of worms in this section right here as well. I think they were trying to move around a little bit more. But you can see that this is all just crawling now with worms. So the worms look pretty healthy in here still, except for that first worm that we saw. So we're going to just kind of dig right here. Actually, you know what? We're going to put it over on this side. I think we fed over here last time with the corn on the cob. It's still there. We're going to feed on the other side. So we're going to dig down a little bit This is actually a banana peel, it looks like right there, the top of one. So we're gonna just dig down a little bit right here, throw some of this off to the side. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit more bedding to this. We're gonna cover up that area because we're gonna add all frozen food. As I said, I've had a fruit fly issue, and if you haven't been following along, and I wanna try to keep any fruit flies out. So all my food right now is frozen, so that way no fruit flies come into these bins. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add some paper. Now we're gonna add a ton of food here. And I mean a whole lot of food here. So we've got coffee grounds here on the top that are frozen. We have some lemon and clementine peel, some mushroom, apple core. Right. More of that, plus some broccoli it looks like, and some lemon, and then these carrot peels. As I said, we're adding a lot of food. We're gonna add a lot this time. Banana peel, more lemons. I have a lot of lemons. I've been going through lemons lately a lot. So, more lemon and lime. That's okay. I'll show you what you do to take care of those, because that's one of the things that it's a no-no for most bins, but I believe you can add them after running a bin that only had lemons in it. So this has big broccoli chunks in it, some banana peel, clementine, more carrot peels. As you can see, we're going through a lot of carrots lately. Full clementine, a mushroom. I'm just gonna dump the rest of this in there. This is primarily the same stuff, more lemons, more mushrooms and stuff like that. So this is a big container that's empty. Now, because we put lemons in there, one of the keys that we really need to do is we need to make sure that we add crushed crab and eggshell. You can also use, if you want to, instead, like a crushed oyster shell. The key is, by the way, you should be wearing a mask when you do this. I'm using this pretty low in the bin. I'm adding a lot right now because I want to make sure that this is really coated to neutralize any of that pH. I basically added an entire little container like this in. And that neutralizing that pH is very important, because if you don't, that is going to hurt your worms. So all right, now I've got my sprayer here. I've got my big sprayer. It's ready to go. I'm just going to kind of spray this down, get it wet. It's kicking up a little bit of dust, which is why I'm doing this way. All right, so now we're going to really wet this down. We want this food to thaw, and we want to add a lot of moisture to this bin because we're going to need it because it's very dry. So we're going to add quite a bit of moisture here. Get this all saturated with moisture. Get a little bit more on the sides here. Let it run down the sides and into the bin. Now the crushed shells that I have in here that I've added, the egg shells and crab shells and stuff, they're all varying sizes. It's not just little tiny pieces. I put it through a blender, but they're varying sizes. So, all right, so that's what we're gonna add for now as far as food and the moisture on there. Now we're gonna add some more bedding, because I think we're getting a little low on bedding in here, so I'm gonna add quite a bit of bedding here. And this is a 6-gallon bucket. I'm not gonna add the entire thing, but it's filled with bedding. We're gonna add probably a little less than half, maybe a third of it, just to kind of get everything covered, get everything nice and neat. And then we're gonna spray this down. We're getting all this wet too. So we really want to kind of get everything saturated here, try to build the moisture content in here. It's starting to drop as we've gone into winter here in where I live in Maryland. The moisture content in the air really drops down, and it drops down in my house, and these bins have trouble holding in that moisture, so I have to add more moisture than I normally would. Normally I'd be trying to dry them out. I don't even have to do that now. I can just keep adding moisture and it'll dry out itself. So we're really going to wet this down. And actually, you know what? I'm going to put my glove back on here and just turn this a little bit and see if we need to add a little bit more. So just kind of move it around a little bit. Oops. All right, it needs a little bit more moisture. Just got to make sure we keep this stuff moist. This is a really large feeding. I know that they still have those corn cobs, but those take a long time to break down, and I know that. I mean, there's times where I've pulled them out the bottom of these bins, and that's fine. You just add them right back to the top. They will break down fully. They just, without being ground up, they take some time to break down. So that should be good for that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grab our shirt that we have here. We're going to throw that on top of the area that we just fed. And this shirt, by the way, will break down. It will break down to nothing eventually. Throw this back on top. And that is our update. So we added a large feeding this time, and we're going to try to come back sooner and see if they finish that off just as quickly as they finished off everything else. But this bin has been working incredibly well. I wish I had didn't have my fruit fly issue where I sort of pushed it off, but hopefully nothing got in here since it's gone down in my basement as I've added more stuff around to take care of it. But that's our update for this week. If you have questions, please leave a comment down below, and thank you for watching.